Welcome to what could be the most fun part of your day. First, grab some blocks. If you don't have blocks, you don't need them at all, actually. You don't need anything, technically. But you could grab very small weights, no more than about 3 pounds, or teacup chihuahuas. So, you could also, if you wanted to, grab my bunny. He's like 2.5 pounds. So from here, what we're going to do is do a few movements with the blocks. And like I said, blocks aren't necessary for this. So as you offer the blocks up like little trays of cheesecake or something like that, and then you take them in, and then you rotate. You have to lean forward. And then reach back, and then lift the backs of the arms towards the ceiling. I like to take an inhale here. And then as I exhale, I don't need to do a huge deep cat pose, but there's a little hollowing because I need to be able to get the arm bones to move in such a way that I can move the blocks through. And then inhale. And so we'll do these just once or twice so you can get the feel. Good. And then we'll take blocks up here. And then take them behind. You could take them actually. If you wanted to, you could grab the end. I'm making it a little bit unnecessarily difficult because that's just how I like it, I guess. And then take it back. And so just by doing this, your arms could get tired. If your neck's getting tired, consider that maybe the arm bones are doing a lot of the work in the lifting and the shoulder blades aren't doing a lot of the work. So consider whether or not you could be, and you might be real tight in the shoulder blades or just have very little motor control, which is kind of common. And in which case, try to see, do in a mirror if you need to. You can move more the arms in the joint and then use more shoulder blade work in the back. Okay. And then the last one we'll do, this one's pretty simplest one. Ha ha. And we're going to squeeze the arms in and then pull the forearms back. You can have the arms low, like I'm trying to go for this parallel type position here, but you can have them higher. Inhale, exhale. And the reason I exhale here is because there's a tendency here when we do this to like splay the ribs out and then start, and this is where we really don't want to use the shoulder blades to hike back. So I like to do inhale here, and then as I exhale there's that little hugging and lifting, and the ribs naturally, at least the lower ribs, tend to go down on exhales. That's the inside of the rib, the one that's actually attached or closest to your midline. Low ribs aren't attached to the same things your midribs are. Okay, so there we go, blah, blah, blah. Let's take it to some standing postures. I enjoy starting symmetrically. I feel like it's better for warming up the legs, so let's come to a rag doll, like a for reals rag doll, not a forward bend. So listen to that. Now, barring any knee or hip injury, if straightening the legs relieves some sort of unnatural pain, then do it. Otherwise, let the torso rest on your leggy McLeggersons, and let the sit bones be wide so you're not clenching in the butt. This is not the right time to use a whole lot of butt work. In fact, wiggle the hips a little bit just to make sure that you're not recruiting from them unnecessarily. You can lift and spread the toes if you want. Take your weight towards the heels, but I like to take the weight onto the balls of the feet and the big toe and little toe mounds, and keep my toes lifted, almost like I feel like I'm going to fall. My knees tend to knock in here, and so when I do that, I actually try to energetically pull them apart. It helps engage some of the hamstrings and outer hips here. And then as you inhale, let the heart reach forward. So you're like in a chair pose now. And then as you exhale, find the little cat belly
but only let the upper spine round, if anything at all. And then stay here, inhale, let the belly drop, and the arms are going to be loose like spaghetti. So the idea is that you're able to articulate from the center and then start to slowly rise up. See, my legs are still bent until right about here. And my head's cut off, but that's okay, you don't need to see it. And then coming back down. Okay, I'm going to step back a little bit for the purpose of space. You don't have to. Take your hands in your, take the blocks or just your hands up. Now you don't have to lock your arms out. Look what happens when I lock my arms out. So if your shoulders rise from locking the arms, I recommend that you keep the elbows. If the elbows drift out, it's fine, but what happens when you hug them in? Is you get different action. So maybe hug them in. And then pull them back. Inhale. I let the tail drop a little. I put my weight to the heels. And as I exhale, there's a little cat motion, not a huge one. I'm not going for, I might be going for a bigger one so you can see it. Although my belly's pretty belly-like. And then I lift. So I've got a nice soft little belly there. So you may not see. So for me, I might exaggerate it just so you can see more. But you don't have to go that crazy. And then from here, we have an option. You can drop the blocks. Take your hands to your hips. You're going to curl the left leg in. My right leg didn't straighten. I don't know if you noticed that. Inhale. And as you exhale, extend the navel and the arms forward, but the leg back. And then inhale. And then as you exhale, little curl of the bell. Inhale. Right? And then exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Take your back foot down if balance is pissing you off. There's no reason to be all angry and stuff. And then wherever you are, reach your arms back and then pulse the blocks. Try to keep the shoulder blades from pinching together. It's more like the arms come together than the shoulder blades do. And then take your left leg back. Boom, blocks become your friends. And then your knee doesn't have to drop like mine did. You're going to take it back here. And you either have a space where your hips can come on top of your heel, or you take the foot out longer and you come here. Totally up to you. If your hamstrings don't feel like they're loving this, then you can go back and forth. This is great for anyone. Notice that I'm not going to my max range of motion on the lunge. I'm not dumping my hips all the way down. And I'm not doing my max range of motion on the half split stretch either. I might go deeper. But my goal is not to be a contortionist. It's just to have some healthy movement. This feels healthy to me. Maybe at the end now, I will pause. And as I exhale, I lengthen forward from the front of my belly forward. And then the option here is you could rotate, so not from the hip. The hip doesn't swing out to the left. The right leg rotates out. You know it's out because the right knee and toes point out. The right top of your thigh point out. That could be good for you. It could not be good. So you need to decipher. You could also rotate your leg inward too. All right, so from here, we're going to take a brief little lunge, belly in. I'm going to turn away from you, not because I'm rude, because this is the way you're going to turn to your left. And then we'll take the hands here, we'll come to horse stance. I've been finding that a long horse stance actually isn't really what's good for me because my hips pop, so it's up to you. But I do like to get my nose too, but my toes and my knees like to point the same direction. So I'm going to take this motion here, keeping the elbows close, using the exhale to pull the blocks back, so I'm not jutting my ribs out to compensate for lack of strength or mobility. You can drop the blocks a little bit so they're not as high. And every time I inhale, I try to release a little bit in the back body, like my butt especially. It's going to work a little. It kind of has to some degree, but inner thighs, you should be feeling it. Good. blocks together, spin to the front of your mat. This is a good place to rest, or if it calls to you, you can take pyramid pose, broken pyramid, or what I call the stairs, and then the escalator. Stairs, escalator. Whatever feels right to you. I like to fold first and then straighten the legs. That way my pelvis is in the place I want to end up in first, and my legs have to work around my pelvis, which usually means I'm not as flexible as I think I am. And that's a good sign, because that means maybe straightening my legs first and then folding forward and having the pelvis do its different stuff. It could be aggravating some attachment points here. You can stay here as long as you like, or you could be resting like I told you earlier in a child's pose, or just laying down or taking a drink. And then from here, you have an option. You can step forward, come to actual forward bend, or you could take a little jump forward. And this time, maybe you're in a hybrid of ragdoll and forward bend. So see if you can tease your hamstrings straight. Like I could fold in half quite easily. I could be doing all sorts of crazy stuff right now, but I'm not. I'm going to really be kind to the nervous system and how it helps my muscles relax, and also the connective tissue, how that can lengthen. Good. So from here, let's go. Inhale, take the blocks, chair pose. And then we'll take the right leg in this time, close to the body. I take the blocks close. Inhale, left leg is still chair. And then exhale, lengthen all things in opposite directions. I got the TV in front of me here, so my arms aren't going to extend. And then I just want to charge up the back leg. I know that very often, I'm going to move back, that we're told to square the back hip, and that can be useful. But if you're hugging, if you have a little chair pose in your left leg and you're hugging that outer hip in and the inner thighs towards one another, you might need a little external rotation in the back leg. But can you just charge up the back leg so it's not hanging in space? Inhale, exhale. Left leg is precarious. Inhale, exhale. And then I'm going to lift a little bit here, so we'll do a couple more. And then from the lifting of the arms, maybe you pulse. Again, not by squeezing the shoulder blades together, but maybe the arms closer to the body. Step it back. Notice I didn't do the knee drop body slam. Take your knee down. Either take sit bones to heel or walk the foot out about a other foot. It all depends on what you need and want. I'm going to rotate my entire leg externally, but if I do that with my hip, they jut out to the right. So you know that you're isolating your leg if you don't tilt too much or at all. You can use different articulations of the feet. Okay, so think about that. It's a possibility. Internally rotate if you need. Stay here for as long as you need to. We will end up turning to the right in a little horse stance, but you can get there when you need to. If you need a little down dog prasarita hybrid, you can do that. Again, resist the urge to totally straighten out your legs quite yet. See if you can have that amount of self-control. Press into the blocks. On an inhale, you can drop, but as you exhale, draw the belly and press into the blocks about 50%. Inhale. And then every time you exhale, press in like 10% less, so 40% strength, and then 30% effort, and then 20% effort, and then maybe hang out at about 10% effort. Just so there's put a little bit of stability in your mobility. A little stun your ma. Okay, come in here. Let's take the horse. My legs are tired. Second time I've done this today, and I'll be doing it a third time. So if you can come to your horse and reach the blocks, I'm actually going to do this blockless today on this one. So you can take it in, you can drop the arms. I actually find this helps me deal with some tension on the sides of my neck. I even feel like my scalene's getting a little stretch. Kind of cool, right? All right, to the front we go. You can go lower, high. Pyramid if you did it on the other side. Stairs, escalator, stairs, escalator. So decide what you need. And then if you want to fold forward, if you just bend the legs even a tiny bit, you don't need a lot, and you can come into the inside of your leg to start. And then as you exhale, you find a little hugging of the belly, the inner thighs. Then you can straighten the legs, and then maybe square the torso. Or you can keep it inside too. There's no law here if it feels okay. And then you might find you get more sensation. You can chill out, you can have a break. If this is not a chill out pose, find one right now, whatever that is. And then from here, we'll step forward. And now, go ahead and see what happens when you do a right to the edge of your forward bend. So, see what happens when the legs get straighter, or as straight as you can, a notch before your edge. A notch before. I do not hit my actual edge anymore, and I have gotten more flexible and practically never injured or in pain because of that. And other things. Okay, taking it down. I'd like to end in a squat. Now you can stand on your blocks or on a block. 2 feet on one block is a thing. You can have the blocks under your heels, okay? Squat doesn't work for you. Sit on your blocks. Squatting is important though for the opening and the mobility in the center here. But not everyone is going to be able to squat down all the way. If you've lived in a very sedentary lifestyle for decades, it can be quite difficult. So from here, we'll work that hugging action. Remember how the legs and the hands and the legs were sort of fighting against each other? Well, now they're kind of in love, and the legs being a little bit heavier and more muscular, they're going to win the fight a little. But your arms are going to acquiesce because they're going to hug in towards one another too. And as you exhale, there's that baby cat pose that we've been flirting with, and you can either come forward until you're on your tippy toes and then come back. You can go to the point where you feel like you really don't want to go anymore. It's scary, or your wrist hurt maybe. Index knuckle down, remember we talked about at the beginning or on the other video. And if you'll notice, you might not be able to see it, but I'm letting my elbows go on top of my wrists. Without that, balancing will be relatively difficult / impossible for most people. And if you are able to balance like that, there's going to be a lot of stress in your elbows. And that travels up to your shoulders usually. So again, you can do crow or not, and leave it up to you. And then it can be really nice here. Something that opens up the front of the thighs. So if you want, you could technically start this video from the very beginning and repeat it, because that might be something closer to what I would teach in a class. I wouldn't repeat it exactly, but I would repeat most of it. And I might add little flourishes. So you'll just have to come to class, really. And this is extreme for a lot of people, so if you can't get here, don't get here. This is me taking care of me. Some people can put their head on the ground. all you need is hand. And then what I like to do is come to the ground on my belly. And then I use the block or a blanket or cushion or nothing. And I have it support the chest, so my ribs, like my last rib is either on the block or hanging off the block. I kind of like the idea of my last rib catching the block so I can let the viscera hang down. And who knows, maybe even some muscles might relax a little. If it hurts, don't do it. Unless you love the sensation of pain and whatever floats your boat. So from here you can just take a nice relaxed position. You can let the arms relax in the sense that the weight of your body is pressing your arm bones up. It's not necessarily bad. Or you could lie more on the block and let the arms relax. You can let your toes turn in. For most people, that would be nice if the heels go out and the toes in, because the back of the sacrum gets to spread a little bit. If you're holding on to something, like your eyes are clenching in or your butt is going for, maybe relax that. And this is how I would end this particular practice, either by reaching back for one of my feet, and you have the option of, square, meaning heel to sit bone. For those of you that like internal rotation, like myself, I'll take the heel outside of the hip. I don't know that external rotation is the greatest here for me, but it might work for you, in which case you would try to grab the foot on the other side. The trick is to not let the glutes engage here, because the glutes engage, you miss a nice stretch. And it's almost like if you keep pulling it over, you get a little bit into the TFL. Just be careful of your knee. There's a little baby TFL stretch there for me. For somebody it might be monstrous. I don't know. And then take the other foot. Could be some internal rotation here, some Virasana-like leg. The more muscles you release, the more intense or the more sensation will spread. It kind of depends on your body. And then if you want to take the external rotation of the thigh bone and the heel across the body, if you keep taking it, like I said, sometimes ye old tensor fascia lata will open up a little. I can feel it. Oh, right side. Okay, and then you get to decide your shavasana. You can be face down or belly down and face to the side, but this is the end of your practice. Always take 3 to 5 minutes for symmetrical, seated, lying, reclined position. Anything where you can breathe and be quiet and pull your awareness either into your body, or if all you can do to stop from thinking about your laundry list of things to do is to listen to the birds chirping outside, then just do that. Listen to something that's happening right away. It's not even a bad thing to put on some music and maybe focus on that too. We all need a little help. Sitting quietly may not be something we can do. Lying quietly, it might be near impossible some days. So just find something that pulls you into that current moment. And then stick with it. 3 minutes, you can do that. I'm going to turn away now. Have a good one.